What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich here to bring you your NBA player props for Tuesday, November the 15th. Yesterday, we did not do a video because there wasn't a lot that we liked on the slate. We were both very busy, but Sunday we did talk about a few plays. Ray talked about DeMar DeRozan over his points, which did not hit. The 3 days of rest was not good for the Bulls or DeMar DeRozan. And conversely, I talked about Nikola Jokic's under his points, rebounds, and assists. And while he could have had about 20 assists in that game, he did not and went under his points, rebounds, and assists because the Nuggets blew out the Bulls. Kind of what I touched on the video a little bit. But again, can't win all of our bets. It's the process, it's the plays. But we got a new slate today, only 5 games, not a ton, but I do have 4 players I want to talk about today that I do like for various reasons. So let's dive into that right now. For all the high-flying action, take a step back and relax. It's time to count that money, the NBA props. No look any further. You know what time it is. Presented by PRIZEPICKS, NBA props. Let's count that money, man. So let's dive straight into the model and talk about some of my favorite matchups for today, starting with the New York Knicks, Julius Randle. Now, the matchup has felt relatively neutral. As you can see, this data provided by MySparry shows that Julius Randle, the only matchup of consequence for him is they don't allow a lot of three-pointers to power forwards, but Julius Randle doesn't really shoot threes, so I'm not too concerned about that. And as you see in the model, he is right at the top for both his points, rebounds, and assists, and his points and rebounds. He's been very consistent, hitting early and often for the Knicks over the past few games, right at the top of the model. I don't know if I'm in on Julius Randle, but he does look good from a data perspective, and that's why I wanted to showcase him to you. And as you see, for the points, rebounds, and assists, and the points and rebounds, we are getting 1 point of edge relative to what we see on DraftKings. DraftKings is juiced slightly to the under, but on PrizePicks, we do get the 32.5 and the 28.5 versus the 33.5 and 29.5 on DraftKings. So that point of edge is worth it if you do like the over there. It's juiced slightly the under on the books, but we are getting enough edge to where it's probably worth taking an over. And for how consistent Julius Randle has been, he has been really good. And I do think there is a world where he goes over again in this one. Utah is fine, but they do put up a lot of points and do allow a lot of points on top of that. So I do think the matchup is great. And we have seen the Knicks play in some shootouts as well. So this could be a more high-scoring game than people are kind of projecting initially. And I do think it's a good spot for Randle. Not a core play for me, but one that I am interested in because the data does seem to support another over for Randle tonight. Now, I want to talk about Anthony Simons up against the San Antonio Spurs, who are on a back-to-back tonight. But the bigger thing, and the reason why I want to talk about him, is because he has a great matchup in terms of his points. So if we go to the MySparry data for Portland, and you look about Anthony Simons, San Antonio Spurs allow the 5th most points to opposing point guards and the 3rd most assists. Now, we could target the assists because both do look good in the model. You can see both the points and assists and the points are the 2 highest edges for Anthony Simons today. The bigger issue is that Damian Lillard is back and he's expected to play in this game. And so the assist potential for Anthony Simons is slightly lower, but they still do allow a ton of points, and Simons has scored 20 points in 3 of his last 4 games, and his usage has still been fine with Will Lillard coming back. I think this matchup is great. We saw Jordan Poole put up 36 points on the Spurs last night in a massive blowout against the Warriors. So I do think there's a great spot for Simons, who can put up points in bunches, shoot a ton of threes, and score a lot. This is definitely going to be a core play for me. Anthony Simons over 20.5 points is definitely a core play. If you want to play the points and assists, assuming he does get some there, it's a fine play. But as I mentioned, he was getting around 6 assists when Lillard was out. But now with Lillard back in, his usage has gone down in the passing department. He can still get it done, but it's not one I want to bank on. I know that he will shoot, and I trust in him to shoot. And after what Poole did last night, I definitely feel confident in another over versus the Spurs again tonight. The next one I want to talk about is Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter has a phenomenal matchup today. The best matchup on the slate. You see right here, Kevin Huerter, Brooklyn allows the most points to opposing shooting guards and the most three-pointers. And that is exactly what Kevin Huerter does well. All he does well is he scores points and he shoots threes, and that's it. Last night, or 2 nights ago, Lonnie Walker put up 25 points and hit 5 threes against them. So I think it's a great spot. You know, there's a lot of talk about Kevin Huerter with De'Aaron Fox coming back, and people were in the comments saying, don't take Kevin Huerter. This is literally the best matchup you're going to find for him all season. The 13.5 points is not one that I love, but I do think it's a fine spot for him, and I don't mind taking the over. You know, you see him on the books here. He doesn't look great. 13.5. I prefer 12.5. It's projected to be an under. I love the 3-pointers if that's the route you want to go, but that's not on PrizePicks right now. The 13.5 points is a fine number. A little bit better on the books and this on PrizePicks, but at the end of the day, all we're looking for is a guy who can shoot it and go over, and Kevin Huerter can definitely do that. I think he can score 14 points pretty easily in this one. We've seen what shooting guards have done over this season to Brooklyn. I think it's a great spot. He's a core play for me. Much prefer the threes. If you're on the sports books, go take that one. It's, heavily juiced to this point, but the points are still a decent value. Again, I just prefer them at 12.5, but unfortunately, they're not getting that number today. We have to settle for the 13.5, but with the matchup, I think it's still a great spot to talk about Kevin Huerter as a core play. And the other one is Kevin Durant. You see right here, Kevin Durant projected for an under for his points, and it's as scary as that sounds, taking under on Kevin Durant's points. I think it's actually a pretty decent spot. For some reason, it shoots to the over on the books, so be mindful of that. But he's only gone over this number once in the last 4 games, and you see how heavily juiced this is to the under. It's because he's been doing a lot more passing. You see his assists are way up. He's been getting 7 assists, double-digit assists, going on triple-double watch almost every game. Now, he will almost get to 30 points, but he hasn't quite been going over that number. And if you look at the matchup on MySpar, you see it's not anything significant, but the big significance here is that the Sacramento Kings do allow a lot of assists to opposing power forwards. So if Kevin Durant does choose to be a facilitator in this one, it is actually a great matchup. And on top of that, Sacramento has not allowed too many 3-pointers, the 3rd fewest to opposing power forwards. So from that respect, we should not expect Kevin Durant to do a ton of damage from the 3-point line. Not that he tends to so much now. He's doing a lot more in the mid-range and definitely at the rim, not as much from 3, but at least knowing that the chances are even slimmer that he does shoot 3s and make them, because this defense is surprisingly good against opposing power forwards, does give me added confidence to take an under for Kevin Durant. Again, it's not a core play, but it's one that I was definitely intrigued by when I saw the data. I think it's one that you can look at and potentially flex. The value isn't quite there on the books right now, and so I wouldn't necessarily go all after it, but for some reason it gets bet up to maybe 31.5 or even 31 on PrizePicks. I think it's one that you should consider taking the under, because he's not really hitting it that often. In a blow-up game that's very high scoring, of course, that's always possible, but the defense has been surprisingly better for the Brooklyn Nets recently. Again, not against the shooting guard, but in other areas it has been. And I think that Sacramento, while they do put up points and run quite fast and shoot a ton of threes, I still think that Kevin Durant may choose to be a facilitator in this one instead of trying to be the run and gun offense where he does it all. They have a lot of playmakers. They're actually playing surprisingly well as a team, and they're scoring in bunches without Kevin Durant having to put up 50 every night. So I do think an under is in play, not a core play. The 2 core plays for me are Kevin Huerter over his points and Anthony Simons over his points. I think those are the 2 best values on the slate right now, and based on what we're seeing on the books and in the data, I think there's a lot of things to support it. So as always, if you tail, give PrizePicks hell, and if we fail, do not bail. Ray and I will be back tomorrow with more NBA picks and bets on PrizePicks. Good luck tonight. Let us know what you guys are playing in the comments, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.